We are pleased to be joined now by Denise Jackson-Salters, and she is an Indiana University Hall of Famer. She was an incredible hooper back in the day. Denise, thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you for having me. I am honored.
Well, let's take it back to before IU. Let's take it back to Miami and where you first fell in love with the game of basketball.
Okay. I am a Miami Northwestern Bull. We are well known all over the country. We have a phenomenal football team, have had for the last 30, 40 years. We won the national championship how many times? We are still in the runnings for one of the best high schools in the country. But yeah, I fell in love with basketball due to my coaches, for one, my family support, for two, and my teammates, for three. You know, it appears to me that God has always just settled me into a team, an environment that was just conducive for progress. And it's all God.
That's right. No question about that. But when you were a student athlete at the high school level, when did you know that you were a little bit different than the other players you were on the court with?
I knew in ninth grade. In ninth grade, I came on to play junior varsity, and my volleyball coach was the one to put me in varsity sports. And varsity sports was an after third period, fourth period class, and we played sports the rest of the day. However, it was completely organized. She made sure we attended every class. We did our homework. We gelled as a team. But I knew in the ninth grade at 5'9", I was a little different.
I love it. I love it. So when you started getting the recruiting letters, what was that process like for you? And what was it about Indiana that enticed you enough to attend Indiana?
Bobby Knight was it, you know, in 1978, 79, you know, we may have had 6 channels in Miami. However, Indiana was on those channels repeatedly, and just the admiration he had for the sport. I loved it. So I was well aware of Hoosier country. I actually wanted to play for Kansas. My senior year, I knew Lynette Woodard was going to Kansas, and I used to dream of playing with her. And my brother was like, no, I think Indiana's a better choice. And my brother was not someone that I would cross, put it that way. He has always had my best interests at heart, and made wonderful decisions for me by just trusting him. And when I talked with Coach Mary Alice and of course, Hutchison, you know, Isabel Hutchison was the AD at IU. She had just left the University of Miami. She remembered me from Northwestern, and she was like, I need you here. And I was like, well, okay, well, everybody's for it, and I can't be against it. That's right. So it was just a straightforward decision, no second thoughts. The only school I didn't visit for a actual site visit, I just decided to do what my brother told me to do.
Oh, what a journey. What a journey. And in 1983 and 1984, you were District All-American. You were a 2-time Wade Trophy finalist during that time as well. And over your career, you averaged a double-double, 15 points and over 10 boards a game. And your board work, I was looking at some of those numbers and eye-popping. What is it about rebounding? And what is it about, like you said, being a part of a great team helps you to compete in that way?
I've always had a mommy phobia, if that makes any sense. I came in, I don't know where my composure came from. Probably from playing 4 sports in high school, year round. The weather in Miami was always good. So my demeanor was always about winning, winning, winning. When you come from a winning program, that's pretty much all you know, and I always say we only know what we've been taught. Some things are self-taught, and winning is one of them. So coming into to Indiana, meeting the teammates, my freshman year, again, is when I say God sort of handpicks people to be right there. I had the most amazing teammates that made me feel extremely comfortable. We can venture into race relation issues because back then it was pretty tough for my husband and I. And yes, we had ice and cups and sodas thrown at us from cars and that kind of stuff, but we withstood. We understood why we were there. My teammates would make me feel like I was just a part of them. My coaches, Coach Randy Mascarella she was a friend, she was a coach, she was a mentor. She wouldn't let us fail. And when you have that component, failure is not an option.
Right. And you said 4 sports. I know you mentioned volleyball, obviously basketball. What were the other 2 sports in high school?
Badminton and softball. Oh. I was actually a GMAC badminton championship. I loved badminton. Yeah, I know, strange.
Oh, that's awesome.
Me and the shuttlecock had good relationship here.
Oh, I love that so much. After IU, you went on to become a client service coordinator for the Access Mental Health Agency. And what you were just saying about being harassed because of your race and having ice cups. I mean, I brought a tear to my eye because I couldn't even fathom that. But was it that experience that guided you to your post-student athlete career at IU to kind of help process what you went through, but also to help others who are going through things like that?
Absolutely. Christy, like I said, I had a mommy complex from day one. I always felt like I was the leader regardless. And that's some undue pressure that people can put on themselves. And as I grew and mature, I realized the pressure that I did put on myself to carry my team all the time. When I first graduated, I worked for Center for Disease Control for 4 years as an epidemiologist. And then I transferred to Chatham County Health Department, and I worked there as an epidemiologist for another 17 years. And then I went into mental health. At that time, it was time for the transformation. Things happen, life happens, and you need to make a change because the hustle and bustle now needs to be, okay, I need to sit behind the desk and show others how to help. I have to teach people how to help themselves. So I became a manager, and it was hard to lead, outreach. I love out in the trenches. I love being out face to face with clients and seeing families through crisis. Coming from Miami and coming to Indiana, I had the best of both worlds. I went to an all-Black high school, and then I go to Indiana, which is predominantly white back in 79, 80. So I had a cultural shock. I made it through again because of the support system. And when I tell you my sisters, my teammates will be my sisters for life. We share a bond that is extremely rare. In some regards, I'm closer to some of them than I am my own family. And it's because we've made it through all of our trenches together.
That's such a true statement about being a true teammate. And I feel that on many levels. With that being said, you're a teammate also with your husband, and you met at IU. What was that like, and how did that transpire, and how has that gone as the years have folded by?
John and I have been together 40 years now. Amazing. We met our senior year in high school. He was a All-American fullback for Naples High School in Naples, Florida, and I was All-American for Northwestern. And we met at the Junior Olympics. When we got to the Junior Olympics, Florida State played, I want to say it was Tennessee, I believe it was. And he was on the football team, I was on the basketball team, but on the registrar, you could see what school the athletes were attending. And he came to one of my practices and told me he saw I was going to IU and he had signed with IU, and we met that, right then. And we started talking the whole summer. We talked, and when we got to school in August, we, after about a month or so, we started dating, and we've been together ever since. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I love that. 40 years. That's amazing. And we already said that you were awarded the Athletic Hall of Fame award at Indiana, but now you're a Big Ten, Big Impact Pioneer Award winner. When you heard that news, where did that take you?
I had to read it again. I wasn't quite sure. And I'm like, is this real? Okay, let me read it again. And I read it again, and, my heart just fluttered. And I always think about how many young girls, after I graduated and John and I settled in Savannah, I started coaching my daughter's basketball team. And taking this team one year from a team that won one game, when the coach asked me to take over the next year, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. Well, we went to the championship. So, from winning one game the previous year, and I think we lost 2 games the entire year and won the AAU championship. That was the start of me understanding, okay, you are a teacher. So I coached those girls, and I tried to instill in them what I had, and I gave it my all. And to see where all of those young women are today, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So yeah, when I looked at that email, and I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Oh, okay. Yeah, it took me to a whole nother height. And it's just, Father, whatever you say, if this is my thank you, I receive it. And I'm still going to give as much as I possibly can of me to anyone who will absorb it. It's sweet.
And as a mom myself, and I coach my daughter as well. So okay. Just hearing you say that, I totally relate to that dynamic. But what kind of big impact have you made on those young women, and then in turn them planting the seeds for the next generation behind them?
Absolutely. And it has planted a seed. Every time these young ladies come back home to Savannah, they find their way to my home. This past year, a couple of the girls stopped by, and they're like, well, I want to see Misha. That because they played together. We're like, I got to see Mama Salters. Where's Mama Salters? I'm like, you can't come in. Like, that's okay. We're good out here. We don't.
Gosh.
It's just amazing that they still write me and let me know the impact that I had on their lives and how much they appreciate and attribute, their success. One young lady wrote me an email recently. She said, every time I get in trouble, I hear you in the back of my head and you get me through again. Those are times that, you sit back and again, whatever you say, Lord, but it's sweet.
Congratulations once again on receiving the Big Impact Pioneer Award for the Big Ten Conference. Denise Jackson-Salters, You are an amazing woman. Thank you for
Thank
your
you
time.
so very much. Thank you.